like disease and stuff, right? So, yeah. Holy shit, logistics, the rest. That's why God issued you your handy-dandy entrenching tool. So you can go dig a hole and poop in it. And you cover it up. You got very good at pooping in holes. It's a skill. I am well practiced at this point. Yeah, so anyways, next morning, you kind of want e-tools are cool. I've got one in the other room, obviously. They're pretty cool. They're very sharp, too, on the edge. For, obviously, like, cutting roots and stuff like that. So you have to be a little bit careful with them. You don't cut yourself. If you have one that's, like, sharpened properly. Yeah, they're a pretty good little shovel. And if needs be, you could freaking chop somebody with one. See, where is this? Oh yeah, okay. So this area here. Yep. Yeah, it's this area here. Oh no, wait. It's this area here. This is too far south. Right here. That's what I'm looking for. So we move out of this area. We got this area here. This is this area is basically where we're going. We specifically are going down south of this, from this road and south, to do a zone reconnaissance of this area to see if there's any way to get through, or where the places to get through are from over here to over here. Obviously you've got this road here, which is on our maps was called Swain Road. Apparently on Google Maps it's called Range Road. Whatever. Yeah, this Swain Road here. So right off the bat, a second platoon, like third platoon was to go down Swain Road. We were supposed to move further south and try to figure out if there's any way to get through. Because this, on the map, you may not be able to see it on this map very well, but this, on the military map, this is swamp. Swamp. Swamp, 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 swamp. Swamp, 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 swamp. Whole area swamp with one road running through the middle of it, basically, right? So, we were supposed to try to figure out if there's any other way through other than this one road, right? So, third platoon goes down Swain Road. We have the headquarters element. We drop the headquarters element off here-ish, because the mortars can set up pretty easily with these, obviously, these wide open spaces to fire out of, right? Eventually they push a little bit further north and set up, I think, more in like this area, not like the giant open space, right? Like the more like random open spaces and trees sort of thing. And we pull south to go check this road out, which we find leads to a giant wall of downed trees and swamp. Oh yeah, you can kind of see the swamp a little bit here. Running through. And we try to push further south here, but we're told that this road here is out of play, this lookout road area. This is like a improved road. Actually, it's a hardball road. But yeah, we can't go down this any further. So we're like, alright, So we end up sitting here for a little bit. Well, 3rd platoon, there is a water crossing in here. You can kind of see where all the water is. You know, a little blue up through this area. I mean, the enemy can't use it. Yeah, yeah. If it's out of play for us, it's out of play for the enemy, too. Unless it's like an administrative movement or something like that that's going on. So yeah, they can't use it either. So the enemy is also, like, because this is force on force. But it's either a cliff or it's some kind of, considered to be some kind of, like, terrain that is, like, impassable, you know? Yeah, you just pretend it's a cliff, I guess. Whatever. In any case, it's something you can't drive vehicles around on or through, you know? What was I gonna say? It's a kindergarten. Right, yeah. Can't remember what I was gonna say now. Oh well. Must not have been that important. Hold on, I got a picture of this water crossing. So... Okay, so yeah, this is part of the water crossing area on that road. It's even bigger than this. This is just like part of it. There's like more further down, essentially. But just so you have an idea what we're dealing with here, right? So it's about maybe like a third of the truck to close to a half of the truck of water going through it. It's even bigger than this. It's tied to your sex tape. Fuck, here's mate. Enormous. Yeah, blue platoon push down the road. And they send out the quadcopter to like scout over the water crossing. Because obviously there's probably bad guys defending this area because this is a good place to defend because this is a giant freaking choke point, right? Like, this is all, like, water this way, like, all water over here, and, like, drop-offs and stuff, so, like, you basically you go down this road or you go nowhere, right? Bad guys, cicaders. So, they set up the quadcopter to go take a look around, and they do spot some enemy positions on the opposite side, so they end up calling artillery on that, have a little bit of back and forth here over the water crossing. They do eventually push the enemy back off of the water crossing, though, through use of indirect fires from our mortars, which are back here, being lovely. We love our mortars. They push through into this area here, and unfortunately, they run into a ambush with dismounts with anti-tank weapons. So they end up losing 2 trucks out of their 6 here. They do manage to push through the enemy, but they get a couple of trucks blown up while they're doing that. Those trucks because they're left on the road because we don't have any time to, like, you know, like the people inside are confirmed to be dead, right? No wounded. And the trucks themselves are, you know, just sitting there notionally burning. So they just get left there and push further down the road, or 3rd platoon pushes further down the road. And then we get a mechanized infantry platoon attached to us, which they're heavy weapons. They're a heavy weapons mechanized platoon. So they basically have up our Humvees. They basically have like the same kind of weapons we have, except for they have a crow system for their 50 cals. as opposed to having to have a gunner. As opposed to having to have a gunner stick out the top of the vehicle, the Crow system. Like, you have the driver inside the vehicle, or they have the gunner inside the vehicle, and he controls it via, like, joysticks and stuff, basically. Video games, that shit. Yeah. So yeah, it's a remote control gun. This is, there's one with a BFA on it. So there you go. Yeah, it's basically, it is exactly this. This is what it looked like. So this is just on top of the truck, right? And like, you have your optics or whatever. So they've got that stuff. We still have like a person sticking out the top to shoot the 50 cal on our trucks. So anyways, because we lost these guys here, and Hire wants us to push through this area, right? They attached this heavy weapons mechanized infantry platoon to us called Destroyer. Call sign Destroyer. So they move down here, and they push over here. They check to the south. Again, like, this lookout road area is basically like the southern boundary to the battle space that we're currently working with. So nothing down this way. Guys go up this Holy Springs Road here, and they get up into like this area, I believe, and they run into another ambush. Only this time, it's not just dismounts, it's dismounts with armored vehicles. Again, like BTRs, BRDMs, that sort of thing. And dismounts all up in here. The heavy weapons loses 3 of their 6 trucks. And I think 3rd platoon loses like 1 more of their trucks. So basically both of these platoons are at like 50% strength. So they pull back. The infantry pull back to just about to the water crossing. Back over here. You call them noobs on the radio. Bunch of noobies. 3rd platoon, I believe. I think 3rd platoon also pulls back to the water crossing, if I remember right. So now it's our turn. So they call us up to the front, because we've been kind of like watching. We've been like guarding the control post back here, or command post back here. Watching like this road or whatever, just in case things go completely to crap and like enemy comes screaming down this way. Right. Just checking my Discord real quick. Saw a message. Alright. So we get called up to the front. We come down here. We link up with the remnants of the mechanized infantry. So we've got our 6 trucks, and they're like, you know what? We'll follow you guys out, basically, right? So they get on our radio so that we can communicate with them. So now we got 9 trucks coming down this way. Checking things, making sure there's no enemy in the area. We do not see anything. There's also a forest fire going on. Like a small forest fire. Like a controlled burn thing. So there's like... when you get up to like here, there's like smoke going across the road here. So there's like a real life smoke screen going on. Right? So we pull up to where the ambush happened before, and there's nobody there. The fire is just them burning off underbrush. Like, it's not part of the exercise. It's just whoever's in control of the area. They're just like doing their like forestry nonsense. Yeah, it just happens to be what's going on. We were coming down this road, when we kind of like hit the smoke. They wanted to burn the forest. Yeah. So, a lot of the times what will happen in forests is you want to like clear the undergrowth a bit. So you like burn off. You won't burn the trees to the ground, because the trees are big enough to not get destroyed by it. So like build up dirt berms around the area you want to burn off, and then you like light the undergrowth on fire and like burn all the like undergrowth away, right? Yeah, it's actually like good for the forest. Yeah. Yeah, normally like in if it was just a regular old forest, it would happen by itself occasionally, right? But because humans are there, like Lars said, we do it intentionally to like assist the forest, usually. And if we do it intentionally, then if it happens accidentally, it's not going to turn into like a giant freaking fire where it's just raging like crazy, like freaking Canada/California, sort of thing. Which I'm sure they do control birds there as well, but like, yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Been spacing out and listening. Happening often enough that it didn't build up enough to be as big a problem as it is now. Yeah. Alright, so like I said, there's like a smoke screen going through here. So we come driving through the smoke. We check down this way, there's nothing. We don't drive all the way down there, but we like, clear this route essentially. And let's see, where is it? Yeah. And we got my truck kind of on the right side of the road. We've got the 3 truck with the tow coming up the left-hand side of the road. We're coming up this way, and I look over here, like into these trees, and there's like a big bush, and then I see like there's like a square, right? So it's just like, okay, I see lots of forest, and then I see like this a green square. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a pretty boxy looking tree or bush. So what that was, obviously, was the optic from the Striker. It was like an LRAS optic. So hold on a second. This thing. This freaking green box, right? So I'm seeing the front of this green box. So I take one look at that. And I say exactly that to my freaking gunner. I'm like, that's a pretty freaking square looking tree. What? I'm gonna take a look, just like freaking off 11 o'clock. He like swings over and he looks at it. And he's like, yeah, that's it looks like a PTR. So I freaking yell out over the comms, PTR 300 meters, 11 o'clock. So everybody knows like what we're seeing here. And then immediately I tell my gunner to engage, right? So I scream engaging over the freaking radio as well. So the 50 cal, we start lighting up immediately, like right off the beam. Like come around the corner, we go, that's a square looking tree. Gunner and I both go, that's a bad guy, and we start lighting. The tow truck pulls up on line to start engaging. The rest of our trucks peel around over here to like form a line on the south side of the road, all firing into this area. There's the BTRs here, there's a BRDM down here, there's a machine gun nest. Same range. Yeah, myself and my gunner like worked really, really well together. He was amazing. Actually, my whole truck was amazing. Everybody in that truck was freaking awesome. They did very, 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 very well. Like it felt like we were on the same wavelength. Like I didn't have to like spend a lot of time explaining things. I could just like say things and people would like get it, which was really, really nice. So there's like a level of experience there, considering the majority of that truck had never worked together before, like that was like really good. As a matter of fact, like a lot of the people in our platoon had never worked together before because we were like amalgamation. We were like a combined Alpha troop and Bravo troop thing. So like there were a whole bunch of us that never worked together, but we like the platoon itself, second platoon, like worked together super well despite before this point, like not having done that, right? So that was pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, our trucks pull up and set up a base of fire here along the left-hand side of the road to start engaging. There's also like a shitload of dismounts. There's probably like 12 plus dismounts, maybe even more, like spread out in front of the BTR over here in the bushes, and then there's more down here to the south to the machine gun nest. I pull the truck up to about here to get a better line of fire. So the miles gear inside the truck, you have like a PDA essentially, like velcroed to your like the close to the truck commander's seat. So it's like just a little PDA thing. That like gives you information and stuff like when you've died, or in this case, it started yelling at me near miss, which means something just winged by the truck. So I was like, ah, crap. So we pull up a little bit further to here and start engaging from like behind some more like bushes and stuff. We get another near miss, so we like reposition slightly more. We try to get the truck position so it's like a little bit more off the front, so it's harder to hit and more behind like some bushes and all that good stuff. So we're engaging all the dismounts. We're engaging the BTR. The tow lights up the BTR, so that's it out. All of the infantry attached follow me up the right-hand side, and we start flanking down the road. So I'm here, and then like all the what's left of the heavy weapons destroyer element like starts setting up down the road here and starts laying fire like across this way, right? So they were like all like boom, 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 3 trucks down the road, like all crow systems, just like so we've got 450 cals lined up on this road, just freaking boom, 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 just freaking laying hate into this woods. And then everybody down here like firing across. So we got a nice L shape here, just like shooting into this pocket, right? So we formed a kill sack on the enemy's defensive position. The BRDM goes down. We take out the machine gun nest. The dismounts are trying to move around. Another BTR and 2 BRDMs come screaming down the road. Pop out, dismounts, freaking go running this way, go running that way. Start engaging those. Obviously, the entire time I'm screaming over the radio, like, everything that I'm seeing, right? So it's like, dismounts moving through the trace to the north. And I'm, like, yelling to these guys on the road. I'm like, you're 11 o'clock. Dismounts on your 11 o'clock destroyer. You know. So that they know, and they, like, start orienting on those guys, start taking them out. Another vehicle, or another 2 vehicles come screaming down the road up this way. So we've got another BTR and another BRDM come screaming down this way, dish out more guys all over the place. So we're probably dealing with like a freaking mechanized, or dealing with probably like mechanized infantry or something here at this point, right? They've got a lot of light to medium armor and a lot of dismounts, right? And we're basically a plussed up scout platoon, right? So we got like the infantry platoon fighting with us, but we're basically a scout platoon. So they just keep pouring more and more guys into this freaking area. We lose one of the gunners from our 6 trucks, so which one of our tow trucks. The gunner dies. So the TC needs to switch into the gun. So he basically needs to run his truck and shoot the gun at the same time. So the lieutenant makes the call because there's just more and more stuff pouring into here. So like so many freaking enemies pouring down this road. My gunner in this engagement burns through 900 rounds of 50 cal ammunition. Thankfully, due to the fact that our other truck got fratricided, we got all of their ammo as well. So we had like a 1,200 rounds or something like that inside the truck. So this entire engagement, like our dismount, our guy in the back, or the gib, is basically like being the loader for our gunner. So our gunner's got all the ammo stacked behind him by his feet. So our dismount is like grabbing boxes, opening them, and like handing them up to him so he can like keep just laying it down like the whole freaking time. Yeah, so we laid 900 freaking rounds of 50 cal into this woods. But the LT makes the call that we need to freaking like retrograde because this is just so much stuff coming down this road that it's starting to get a bit crazy. And we have one guy died already in the in the 6 truck. So we start pulling. So we spin up an artillery mission to call on this. Was the endgame push? No. This is a faux map. Is this real life on Showdown? Well, it is in Louisiana. So yeah, we spin up our artillery mission to like call once we start pulling out. We pull back. There's like a slight hill here, essentially. So we wing it down the road, get on the other side of the hill. Everybody retrogrades down to like here. We throw the quadcopter drone up to observe the artillery coming in to get a battle damage assessment and if we need to adjust rounds, essentially. So the artillery comes in and that basically retrogrades a lot of the enemy out of the area, but it's mortars, which means the mortars aren't like super effective against like the BTRs. Like you need almost like a direct hit to like destroy one of these with a mortar. So we basically disrupt the enemy at this point and we pull back to what is Range Road on this map, but this is Swain Road on the military maps. Yeah, so we pull back up into I can't remember if we pull back all the way to the water crossing here or if we just pull back up into here. I think we just pull back up into here for right then to like watch the end of the road, essentially. The mechanized infantry unit then detaches from us and leaves because they are at 50% combat strength. And they lost, I think, they were at 50%. So they after that fight, they just were low on ammo and, you know, already like beat to heck. So they're like, okay, we're gonna go now. Good luck, right? So we take our platoon sets up like at the end of the road here we're doing like a defense in depth. Like my truck. The 5 truck is like up here watching the end of the road. And we have like the 6 truck back here to provide like covering fire, crossfire into the area. And we have like the tow truck watching down the road further back. And like the Mark 19, the 2 Mark 19s like further back here to like be able to respawn and pull up if need be. So we set in there and try to reconstitute a little bit. The enemy does not push us anymore after that point. And again, remember we're doing all this on like 2 hours of sleep. Like maybe 2 hours of sleep. But, one of the interesting things, we learned that we didn't learn this like right then. But one of the things that was told to the OCTs or the referees about this fight, and like the way that we engaged versus, you know, like other people engage the enemy is like the Op 4 was not prepared for us to be as aggressive as we were. Like, most people that they had been engaging were, like, really kind of, like, gun shy, you know? Like, almost like they didn't, like, want to fight, you know, sort of thing. Where we rolled up and immediately started maneuvering on them, right? Like, we rolled up, saw them, engaged, face of fire, flanking, just ripping into them, like, immediately, like, not afraid, you know, sort of thing. They were unprepared for somebody to be that aggressive. So, like, they complimented us on like just going out there and getting it, right? So that was kind of cool. So it's good to receive compliments from the enemy, right? But yeah. So that was a freaking wild fight. Like, again, like 900 rounds of 50 cal expended. Hell yeah. So we ended up being on this road. Basically the second half of our basically the second half of the exercise. Like, the things that were happening up north here, like in this area, was all like the first half of the exercise. So yeah, like the second half of the exercise basically all happened down here. Yeah, so yeah, we were set up a like defensive depth right here down the road. And like that night, I basically stay up the whole night, making sure that they're just, you know, making sure nobody comes down this road. Get ready to wake anybody up or wake our guys up if we need to friggin' engage or whatever. We got one guy up with the gun, and I'm like outside the truck or whatever. Because obviously the enemy is very close and there's very real potential that they're going to try to move on us. They don't do anything all night, and I trade out with somebody in the morning to take a nap or whatever. So it's like past 7 o'clock in the morning at this point, and there's nothing happened. Nothing's happened since that engagement earlier or yesterday. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go poop. Right? Nature's calling. So I grab my weapon, I grab my shovel, and I go walking off of the wood line over here. Right? So I'm like, so the truck's like over in this area. I'm like over here, you know? Like, I can still see the truck from over there. Just in case things get wild, you know? Like, if they need to help me, they know where I'm at. So I'm there, and I start hearing an engine, and that engine sounds a little bit loud. To be like, sometimes you get like the four-wheelers drive up the road for like the artillery thing or whatever, the fire markers, or you get like the referees driving around on the roads or whatever, right? The engine sounds too big to be one of those. I'm like, oh no. So, I'm like pants down here. Like literally pants down. So, pitch it off, friggin' get my shit together. I hear the 50 cal start going off. As my gunner has started to engage these guys because they've turned down the road. So it's a BTR that's turned down the road with dismounts jumping out. So I get myself cleaned up fast as I can, pull my pants up, grab my rifle, grab my shovel. So I got my rifle, whatever, got my shovel the other. I'm freaking like running through the freaking trees as fast as I can here. Come running up to the truck, freaking throw the armored door open to get it between me and the enemy. Throwing my headset on as I'm like trying to like throw my rifle into the truck, get me into the truck. Because they're engaging us. They're returning fire with, well, it was a 50 cal, but, you know, it would be the Russian equivalent of the 50 cal in real life. So they're, like, shooting at us here, and we're getting near missed. So I freaking, once I get the truck door closed, I'm like, go, 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 just freaking to my driver. So we, like, peel out onto the road, go down this way. Our wingman 6 truck down here is, like, shooting 240 to, like, try to cover us. We both get on the road and go, like, screaming down the road. These guys, because we just, like, frigging baha'd out of the area, these guys have to, like, pick up their dismounts or whatever. So they pick up their dismounts, start coming down the road. Now, because we have, like, a defense in depth going on here, they come down the road and then drive right into the tow truck, who freaking, like, blows up the first BTR with a tow missile coming down the road. While that happens, the Mark 19s start maneuvering to get in line and start engaging. So once again, it's like it turns out to be in total it's like two BTRs and 3 BRDMs trying to come down this road. And we managed to kill the 2 BTRs and a couple of the BRDMs and a bunch of the dismounts, which then forces them back down the road as we're like calling artillery on the situation, right? So they get repelled. We go like screaming back, like past the water crossing essentially. So like myself and the 6 truck like retrograde, like peeling off. And I believe these guys, like, the rest of our platoon does have to, like, back off slightly because it's just a lot of stuff coming in. The artillery essentially kind of, like, finalizes it. The enemy decides that they don't want to be there anymore and, like, back off after the artillery starts coming in. So we end up kind of, like, pulling back to, like, watch the water crossing at that point. We're not really sure, like, how much stuff at this area, or if the enemy's going to come at us again, right? So we try to take the most defensible piece of terrain that we can, which would be this water crossing area. So we stay there, just hold that terrain overnight. In the morning, we then push back out again, and we find that there's nobody out here. So we, like, basically retake the ground that we lost. And, like, later on, I think it's the next day, after basically the only thing we saw for the rest of the day was there were, like, some enemy drones flying around, but it was like observation drones or whatever, so it wasn't anything like too wild. Like the next day, a lone BTR like comes down the road, like turns onto the road. We just light it the heck up. Well, we wait for it to get close enough that like the 50 guy can light it up, and also the tow truck can like hit it. It like comes down the road, we just light it the heck up, it dies. So they like turn around to like drive back away. So I'm not really sure what that was all about, because it was just like one truck, and they didn't drop dismounts out at all. They just kind of like drove down the road, got blown up, and we're like, okay. And it was like effed off. So I don't know if they like took a wrong turn or like what the heck that was, because that was really, really weird. Like completely unsupported attack. But we did have to displace slightly because artillery like started coming in our position, so we just had to back off and like then reset up. Now later, I think it was the day after that, like, we had a really long tac pause. So essentially, tac pause is like if something happens in the real world and they're like, okay, we're not going to... all operations cease for right now. You, like, move around your truck and, like, talk to people and stuff like that, but you can't, like, do anything, like, tactical, as it were. So there's a really long tac pause, and we think that is probably that technical pause, because that technical pause was, like, never explained, really. So we're pretty sure that that was because of finding the guy that, like, actually real world died, right? Pretty sure that that's when that happened, because that pause was never explained, really. So... After that pause, though, we're chilling in positions. A helicopter, like, flies, like, down here, like, wings it over the top of the trees, like, enemy helicopter, like, wings over the trees and, like, flips around, like, goes back this way. Shortly after that, a bunch of dismounts come out of the trees over here. And we're, like, right here. So they come out of the trees here. And we go, oh, crap. Our 50 cal gunner starts opening up on them. We freaking try to slam it on out of there. First RPG does not connect with our truck. I get the near miss marker. So, managed to survive that. We get to about here on the road, though. And we eat a second RPG, which that completely freaking is a catastrophic kill. The entire truck gets destroyed. So, all of us are dead inside the truck. We're just, we're like, all right. Yeah, we, all four of us, get blown the hell up. A bunch of friggin' dismounts came out with friggin' anti-tank weapons. Lit us the hell up. So the day before, I had said, the next engagement, we're probably gonna die. Like, I feel like we're gonna die in the next engagement. We have been near missed over 10 times at this point. And we're always, like, the truck that's in front, right? We're always, like, the very first truck. So, like, the day before, I was like, you know what? The next time we fight, we're probably gonna die. And that's exactly what happened. We did get near most one more time, but then we got blown up. The platoon still, like, orients on the fight and manages to push the enemy away. And they also pull up third platoon. No, wait, they pull up first platoon. Did we name the truck? No, our truck was unnamed. The 5 truck. She was a good home. So yeah, we pull up second platoon and first platoon after the enemy gets shoved off. And they push through these trees. There's like a water crossing down here that they want to check out. So they end up like reconning all of this area here after pushing the enemy back. They get past the point of where we got ambushed before, and we're fighting the enemy. First and last out, Philo truck. Fair enough. It's a good name. They were trying to get to like here. Like we wanted to push up to like this line essentially to like take all of this area after beating the enemy at the end of the road there. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen because there is a company-sized infantry element in these woods. And first platoon runs into that. Does some pretty good damage, but legitimately we lose all of first platoon in the woods up here. Every single one of them. All 6 trucks on fire in the woods. But yeah, they did kill a bunch of guys before going down. Second platoon, we try to push up into here. We end up getting into it there. We're dead. All right, we're dead. We're sitting on the road over here. Or over here, I guess. But second platoon pushes up into here. They get into a bit of a skirmish. They realize that it's a company-sized element, which is way bigger than what we can possibly ever deal with, right? In any kind of realistic fashion. We're trying to call fire on this area, but the infantry that are over here, the friendly infantry that are over here, apparently have like an observation point somewhere in this area, so we can't call for fire on it because there's like friendlies somewhere in this area, but we don't know exactly where, so we can't call for fire on the enemy. So it just turns into a freaking shit show, so we just retrograde back to defending the end of the road again. Well, actually, no, they retrograde even further back. They retrograde all the way back to the water crossing because they don't pick us up right away. It takes until like nighttime for them to come out and like pick us up and pull us out of there. And so we get like thrown in the dead pile over here. Whereas all of 1st Platoon and like us were just hanging out in the dead pile like in this area. But we did get to take our gear off and stuff at that point, which felt heavenly. We got to take the helmet off, got to take the gloves off, got to take the freaking load-bearing equipment off, all the Miles gear. Just got to freaking like chill out. So that felt good. Yeah, the only thing that happens that night is, like, 2nd Platoon has, like, a little fight with, like, a group of dismounts that are trying to, like, set up a machine gun nest at the end of the road, and they just kill them. Like, 2nd Platoon just wipes them out. They're just a bunch of dismounts trying to set up a machine gun randomly. I don't know what that was all about. It probably seemed like a good idea at the time. Wasn't. We get moved from, like, here to here, and we're dead over here in the trees, instead of dead over here in the trees. The next morning is the last day of the box. So, the big end battle is going to happen, right? So normally they would have to do all of the paperwork and everything, right? They'd have to do, like, they'd have to send it up and be like, okay, so these guys need to get the paperwork done so that they can come back to life, all that good stuff, right? Because it's the last day, they just go, okay, you guys are alive again. So we have to throw all our shit on. Go up to the command post, get ammo, they throw more food at us. At this point, we have more food than we know what to do with. Get a little bit more fuel. And then we go out and link up with the rest of 2nd Platoon out here at the... out here... somewhere slightly past the water crossing, I think. And we go park ourselves up here. So, basically what happens for us is there's a large artillery mission that's called at the end of the road. That blows up the whole freaking end of the road. It's like a whole bunch of freaking artillery sims going off down here. But we're far enough away, it doesn't matter. So it's just like artillery sims all over the place. So we're chilling. We get told that the infantry unit that's defending this road up here is getting absolutely schwacked. They're just getting freaking walked on. Like, okie dokie. So, like, stuff is pushed back. There's this one road here that, like, leads between this north road and the south road, right? So, we pull our section back to, like, cover this in case stuff starts wheeling down from the north, right? Because we don't know exactly how far things have, like, pushed up here, right? So we hang out there for a while. And then maybe, like, 20, 30 minutes later, they're like, exercise is over. So, like, okay, cool. So, no enemy came down our road. For the final push. And so when we were doing the after-action review with the referee, one of the things he was saying is, like, so the enemy this entire time has been, like, poking and prodding and, like, trying to figure out, like, where the best places to attack are and things like that, right? And every single time the enemy comes down this road, they die, right? Every single time they try to come down this road, they lost way more than what they killed, right? They lost multiple, like, recon units trying to push down this road, essentially. So, what the referee was saying is he's like, yeah, they did that. They very likely did that, and we're like, you know what? These guys up here, these guys are people we can kill. And so they shoved all their shit through these dudes instead of shoving it at us. So they just left us alone because we killed them every single time they tried to do anything to us. So they decided that this was a much... And then they just freaking blew through the line up here, right? And at that point, the exercise is over because we got a freaking hole in our line, right? So, but we didn't really get a final battle because the enemy was like, F that noise, essentially. So it kind of sucked for the sense that we didn't get a big final firefight, but it's, again, kind of a compliment from the enemy. That they didn't want to deal with it. Yeah. So there was that water crossing picture or whatever. The second platoon. Which one am I? Who am I? Yeah, this is us. This is our platoon. It's a bunch of freaking filthy, filthy bastards. I am in the back. And I am on the left side of the frame. But not all the way to the left. Left truck, right side. Yep. There I am. Right there. This is my gunner. Here. This is my dismount. Here. Let's see. Where the heck is my driver at? Where did he go? My driver is over here. Yeah. Driver, gunner, me, dismount. Professional stalker. So something else that happened is it didn't rain at all the entire freaking time we were in the box. And then as we were doing like the final like conversation with the referee afterwards to talk about all the stuff we did, downpour. And then it stopped. And then downpour. So like all of the freaking like sweat and stuff that's in my hair and on my face runs into my eyes. So I'm like, salt in my eyes. So struggling a bit with that in this picture. You can't really tell because it's far enough away, but yeah. Then you guys have probably seen this one before. This is me after I got back to the barracks. I haven't showered yet or anything. This is like right after I got back to the barracks. You tell I'm tired. What about dudes? Could I show dudes? You look like shit. I feel like shit. Look at this. Look at the collar of that uniform. I have not showered in 2 weeks. Over 2 weeks. The only thing I've had for cleaning is changing my t-shirt, changing my underwear, and like wiping myself with baby wipes. That is the only cleaning I've received in 2 weeks. And it's been... I've just been sweating. Non-stop sweating. the entire freaking time. But, yeah, so there's that. We don't have many pictures from the actual box itself because you weren't allowed to have phones out there. Our celebratory cigar after everything. I'm the only dweeb in, like, full uniform at that point. But, yeah. Who's the highest rank of the cigar photo? Hold on. Close the whole freaking thing. There we go. So this right here is the platoon sergeant. So he's the E7. All of us with our glorious mustaches. Yeah, everybody else here is either E5 or E4, so me at E6, Platoon Sergeant E7, E5, E4, E5, 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 E5. So bunch of sergeants just chilling out, one specialist. Yeah, that was most of the box experience. There's more that happened on the front end of that. I kind of started telling stories from like 2/3 of the way in. What happened? So there's way more that happened while I was down there because like there's us when we first got there, like before we started actually doing combat stuff, and then there's everything that happened afterwards as well. How many confirmed kills did you get? You missed a lot. Indeed. There's lots of talking. I've been talking for like 4 hours now. I don't know how many people we killed. Exactly. Somebody knows. It's not me. Start over. But our squadron was deemed to have passed for going into combat with a peer-to-peer enemy. Oh, I certainly did not. I stayed inside my armored truck as much as possible. Told my gunner. I pointed my gunner at people and he killed them. Friggin' Terminator mode. But yeah, our squadron, the 105th, was rated as being able to be deployed against a peer-to-peer force. Like, we did well enough. Like I said, the whole, like, spreadsheet thing or whatever, with all the ratings between, like, 1 and 4. Like, we got mostly 3s and 4s and, like, some 2s here and there, essentially. Overall. I didn't see the actual spreadsheets, but the, squadron commander did and told us about it. Obviously, we got, like, our overall squadron rating. So, which Basically, our rating is that we are, you know, we're good to go. But it's kind of amusing. It's called the actual like designation for it is marginally effective. Which is just funny. We wanted to get like tabs on our shoulder that said marginally effective on them. Yeah, overall, like our rating was good. It just wasn't like, oh my gosh, these guys are special forces good, you know, sort of thing. It was like, yes, if you were fighting the Russians or the Chinese, we would expect you to be able to do your job, essentially. Doesn't die at first contact. Yeah, right. Tries not to. We did die one time. Though most of 2nd Platoon did not die. We lost the one truck to getting fratricided, and then we lost our truck to getting blown up by dismounts. We lost a few people just like getting shot out of the gunner hatch a couple of times, but like, overall, I think the majority of our platoon didn't die. Which is more to be said for anybody else. I would like to take a moment to make a dig at the field artillery, though. During this entire exercise, this entire 15-day affair, take a stab at how many rounds the field artillery fired. Not our mortars, the actual, like, field artillery. Alright, no guesses? Alright, fair enough. Anyways, 0. They fired 0 rounds. It's not because we didn't ask them to. We asked them a lot. But apparently, the computer systems that they were using were not functioning properly, and they refused to switch to analog. They just wouldn't do it. What was the question? How many rounds the field artillery fired? There you go. Yep, you are correct. So yeah, for whatever reason, they decided that instead of doing their job, they would just not. So yeah, we had missions where we call for them to shoot at something because there's stuff there that field artillery could kill that our mortars would not be able to kill effectively. Our forward observers get in contact with them, call them up. They'd say they're working on the fire mission, and then like 15 to 20 minutes would go by, and the forward observers would be like, hey, what's going on with this fire mission? And they'd be like, oh yeah, we canceled that. It's like, oh, thanks for telling us. Well, they wouldn't even just say no. They would, like, say, oh yeah, we're working on it, and then they would just, like, forget to tell us that they decided not to. Which is worse. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. I really, really hope so. Our mortars, on the other hand, we called them, and like after we realized the field artillery was useless, we were like, all right, mortars, shoot them. And our mortars went right on and just started blowing people the fuck up because our mortars are great. Those guys are awesome. Freaking field artillery, useless. Yeah, there's nothing like being in the middle of like people trying to kill you, notionally. And just like not getting your fire mission for like over 20 minutes. Freaking wild. But yeah. Zero shells fired from the field artillery the entire time. Insane. They were not rated as effective. Go figure. I bet their freaking evaluation was terrible. I can only imagine what those numbers look like. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Get fired from the army for stuff like that? Well, you wouldn't get fired. But it could very well affect your performance evaluation at the end of the year. They were not deemed marginally effective, so they not switch analog at the point that after a couple of those calls, the referee would just go ream them out or no. Yeah, they would. Yeah, I'm sure that the ref probably was giving them a mouthful every single freaking time. Anytime there was like after action review on anything, I'm sure they're like, why? What is wrong with you? You know? Just go and friendly fire them. Find out where they are and shoot them. That's a paddling. Yeah, right. Yeah, they were... Yeah. I don't know. They just didn't want to... They didn't want to, like... adapt to the situation at hand, right? They just wanted to sit on their butts and not do anything. And it's probably a really good excuse for them that they couldn't use their computer system properly to just not do anything at all. They're like, well, you know, our computer system is broken. We can't do crap. Like, yes, you can. It just takes more effort, and you don't want to put any in. Awesome. But, yeah. Why be in the military if you don't want to put effort in? So that's one of those questions, right? There's a lot of people that just want to run out the clock and try to, like, use whatever benefits the military gives them, right? It's one of the reasons why I never felt like I could be, like, a good recruiter, because I feel like if I was trying to recruit somebody, I'd want them to, like, you know, want to do the job in the military, right? Not just be like, oh, look, you can get schooling and healthcare and things like that, you know? Like, I wouldn't want that to be the reason why somebody joined the military. I want them to join because they're like, I am interested in doing this job, you know? So, again, I'd be a very bad recruiter. A lot of people just want the benefits from the military, you know? Which, okay, I guess. Sure, you can get actually done for that, since if that was the actual situation, would you have killed allies through inaction? I mean, again, I'm sure it's going on a review somewhere. Like, somebody's going to be reviewed unfavorably for that, I'm sure. And then again, there's probably a bunch of people that are going to get reviewed favorably that shouldn't be either. But, you know. I assume that they have to learn how to do math in order to even work with the artillery, but I understand the psychology of not my problem and procrastination. Yeah. Again, it's 100% it's got to be like a leadership problem, right? Because, like, if the leaders know what they're supposed to be doing, and they tell the Joes to do what they're supposed to be doing, then it happens, right? So somebody in a leadership position decided that they didn't care, right? Like, they were not here to train. They were not here to actually, like, play the game appropriately. Like, they just didn't want to be a part of it. And yeah, I get it. This place is miserable. This is just like misery personified. Everything about this sucks. Right? Some cool moments, right? So I get it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do your job. That doesn't, like, just because it sucks. It sucks for everyone. So it's not just like it sucks for the field artillery, right? It sucks for literally everybody involved. So do your dang job, right? It's not like you're going to go to war someplace where it's nice. People don't fight over places that are nice. It just doesn't happen. You gotta be able to, like, suck it up, right? Did I complain? Yes, I complained. I was not super happy with the situation. It was hot, sticky, and weren't getting sleep. Sometimes didn't know where our food or fuel was coming from. We were getting asked to do stupid things, like, on a moment's notice, but we did that stuff, right? Like, imagine if I was told that I was going to be in charge of leading everybody all this way, through the dark, to get them to where they're supposed to be so we can continue mission. I just said no. Or we were just like, nah. I don't know about that, Chief. We ain't doing it. Right? Yeah, it was stupid. Was it planned out well? No. Was it executed well? Not really. Because it wasn't planned out well, and it wasn't rehearsed, and all this other stuff, right? Did we accomplish the mission? Yes. Right? Semper Gumby. Got it done. Anyone in your group platoon that has a peanut allergy? I don't think so. If you do have an allergy, though, you have, like, a dog tag that, like, you put on your boot that says you have it, and you have it on your dog tags, like, on your neck, and then you usually, like, have a dog tag, like, shoved into your laces or whatever that is, like, red and says you have an allergy to something, so people don't, like, you know, give you penicillin or something and kill you. Unfortunately, the reality we live in, we'll always have people slacking off. Radio distribution and whatnot. Just sucks when it's life at stake, simulator or otherwise. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like one of the points of this whole exercise, right? Is to, like, give you a simulated environment as close to real as you can, where nobody well, I mean, one guy died, but that was part of the exercise, right? I mean, the exercise itself didn't kill him. There's something else went on. It wasn't the point of the whole thing. It's, yeah, you're supposed to treat it like it's real. You're supposed to get as real as you can. There's always going to be, like, gameisms or eccentricities or annoying things that happen that, you know, it wouldn't happen like that in real life. Yeah. It's only so close you can get, right? But, and it's like, you're there. You're gonna be there anyway. It's not like you're going to not be there, right? You have to be there. You might as well do your job and get better at your job and be proficient, right? There's no evidence that the Choa jockeys will actually perform is real now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, I don't know who made those calls. I'm sure there were people there that wanted to do their job, but were just told, nah, whatever. I'm sure not every single person in the field artillery didn't want to do their job, but somebody in a high enough position was like, we ain't gonna bother with going analog. too difficult, or they didn't feel like they had enough training to do so. I don't know, but I feel like that's something you should train on. Like, you should always train to like the lowest level of thing, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. In this case, their computers didn't work, right? It's just like I have a joint joint battlefield tracker, right? Computer system in my truck, and I can like, it has like the GPS on it, and I can like make lines and all this other stuff on it, be all fancy, but I still have a paper map with all the information on it that I need. If this thing doesn't work, I need to be able to do my job, right? Yeah, I have a protractor, I have map pens, I have like 2 pieces of plexiglass that I squish the map in between, essentially, so I can like draw on it. And then also like easily just like throw it up by the window and stuff like that. And when I was making this movement, I was using both the paper map and the computer system, because there are some things in the computer system that you can't see properly, where the paper map shows it clear as day, right? So I was like going back and forth, cross-referencing to make sure that we're able to get to where we're going. And particularly like when this happened, we had to like just make up a route on the fly, be like, oh crap, we need to get to here. It's just like, figure it out, you know? I used both the computer system and my paper map to do that. And just like we have GPS, like handheld GPS, but we still train how to use a compass and a map, right? Because it's like, what if you can't get GPS signal? What then? You know? So it's like, you should always be training to like the lowest level of like hit with rock, you know? You're training down to the level of hit with rock, essentially, right? On everything that you do. Because you don't know when you're going to be in the situation where you got to hit it with a rock, as opposed to doing all the fancy stuff. But yeah. I don't know. That was pretty stupid. It was like freaking... When I heard they actually fired... At the end of the exercise, when I heard that they actually fired 0 rounds, I was like... Thought maybe somebody got a fire mission, but no. Guess not. Yeah. It's like the, what is the, hold on. Hold on. This.
GPS satellites, unmanned drones, fucking laser sights. The more crutches you have, the more it hurts when they're kicked out from under you. If there's one thing I know for sure, it's that a 6-inch blade never loses reception.
Is that? I mean, the military still have sex and compass and signal flags, and I'm sure they have manual paddle of boats. Oh yeah, no, there's manuals and everything. We technically still have manuals on like semaphore and things like that. That doesn't really get used, but you know, switching case to Rainbow Six Siege. Fucking laser sights. You're playing a losing scenario and you were missing tools? Yes, correct. Again, our mortars were amazing. Like, those guys hook us up all day long. But unfortunately, mortars can't kill some of the bigger stuff out there, right? Or he's not without like a direct hit or something like that, right? Which is you know, depends on how many rounds they have to saturate the area with. Yeah. So the field artillery is like a battalion level asset. So like our forward observers were the ones that were talking to them. So I don't know what words were exchanged between our forward observers and them, but yeah, we weren't talking directly to the field artillery anyways. I remember there was a big thing here a year or so ago when a student at the police academy got kicked out because he aimed a fake gun at another trainee. They were supposed to treat the props like real guns at the range. Tried to sue because he was like just joking after exercise. That didn't go anywhere. That Rainbow Six trailer was great. Yeah, that's I love that Rainbow Six trailer. Um, yeah, I mean, one of those things. It's like if you can't do it in training, like why can I expect you to do it in real life, right? Like how how can I expect you to actually like take things seriously and perform in real life if you can't do it in a training exercise? It's like I don't know. Again, people are very silly. There's a quote that goes, see if I could. I mean, I might be butchering this a little bit, but it goes, "You do not rise to the occasion; you sink to the level of your training." And that is incredibly true, right? Whatever level you're at, that's where you're gonna go when shit gets rough. You're not gonna like suddenly gain a whole bunch of new skills. It's not happening. So take training seriously. Basically, the basically the extent of that. And if you're well trained and your training is similar to the other people around you, that means it makes it even easier to work with other people and stuff too. Like I said, us going into this exercise, like we were all people that basically didn't work with each other before this point, and we all just like freaking made it work and it flowed. We were working together like we had been working together for years because we all like understood what our jobs were. We were trained and professional, uh, and were able to like see what needed to get done and execute on it. Right? Were we perfect? Hell no. Were we marginally effective? Hell yes. It's both hilarious and realistic. Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, there were some really good things that came out of this exercise, but there were also a lot. There's also a lot of misery. So, and I haven't even talked about the things that happened before the box and after the box. I think the box was the best part, despite not being able to shower, having to poop in the woods. Um, the enemy trying to freaking wear us as a hat, all that stuff. Not getting any sleep. Not being sure when our food or fuel or ammo, where that's going to come from, when it's going to come, yeah. So, but overall, I feel like there's some good stuff learned. And you don't get to maneuver like this against an actual, like, opposing force that's operating, you know, at the same... It's operating the same level and, like, getting the same kind of stuff as you are. So, like, the opposing force is, like, an actual force. It's not like they don't just go, okay, we're gonna take you, we're gonna send you over here. You know, sort of thing. Like, they're getting orders and stuff, too, just like we are. So, it's like, it's an actual, like, back and forth fight, essentially. Obviously, the final fight is the enemy just gets so many freaking tanks and stuff that you're going to get destroyed. But, like, up until that point, it's like an actual, like, back and forth, right? With Geronimo, which is the resident opposing force for Fort Johnson, Louisiana. Are you going to more actions in the future with the same people, or are you now broken up, never to work together again? I'll work with some of the same people again. There's a lot of, like, stuff going on in the next year or so. We'll see, I guess. I mean, I might be moving jobs in the military again, too. Like, I really enjoy being a Cav Scout. I like Cav Scout stuff, but I'm also getting old. Like, I was in so much pain. Like, when you're sleeping like this, like, curl up in a freaking chair, like, night after night, not able to stretch out, not able to freaking, like, not always able to take your boots off, things like that, you know, wearing your freaking gear day in and day out. Yeah, it's just so much pain. Like, as a young guy, it can hurt, right? But I'm not a young guy anymore. So yeah, I only have about 6 years left in the army at this point before retiring. So yeah, I'll probably be looking to like, move out of the Cav. Again, not because I dislike the Cav as a whole. We do a lot of cool stuff, but I don't need to be freaking drug out on a stretcher or something, you know? So we'll see what happens with that. What am I going to do after the army? I don't know. I mean, I do civilian stuff as well, obviously, so it'll just be like that without the army part of it. I mean, I already kind of do mall cop, it's friggin' private security. Some point, combat arms becomes a young man's game for sure. Like, I also joined late, or later. Like, most people join around 18. I joined at 23, right? So I've got a few extra years. So, like, even most people at my rank, I'm several years older than, right? Because I joined later on. So yeah. That kind of affects my decision as well, in that regard, right? So we'll see what I can do. Like, my score is good enough to do any job in the army, basically. So, like, as far as the test I had to take to get into the army in the first place, like, I can, my general technical skill score is high enough that I could literally just do whatever, but I just need to find something I want to do and a unit that will take me. So yeah, a couple of things. I wanted to potentially get into cybersecurity. I tried to do that when I switched out of being a drill sergeant and things got really weird. So I might try to take another stab at that, see if I can actually get the transfer as opposed to whatever the heck happened. This very weird set of events that happened the last time. Because I think that'd be neat. Be a lot less strain on the body, and also would be cool for both army and like outside the army, right? The artillery needs some IT people. Also, I could attempt to become a warrant officer and like fly helicopters or something. Issue with that would be that technically the cutoff for that is like 34 or something, so I'd have to get a waiver because I'm older than 34. So I don't know how old they'll take somebody still. I wouldn't mind flying helicopters. That'd be cool. Other than that, beyond those two things, I could go to the reserves, I suppose, and just be a drill sergeant for the rest of my time. Could do that as well. And then I don't know. I'm sure there's more options. I just haven't thought of them. But those are like the 3 biggest options, I guess. They still retire you in 6 years as Secretary of Cybersecurity. Helicopter flying does seem pretty great. Also, perhaps something interesting on the civilian side. I mean, it could be interesting as well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would still hit 20 years, right? So unless I was high enough rank, so like there's a point where you get high enough rank where they'll let you stay past 20 years. But like as my current rank, no, I would still get like force retired at 20, more than likely. Unless something weird happened. No, thank you. Being a mechanic also destroys your body. I've already destroyed